amigos, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel and Happy New Year. I hope that you all had a really lovely, restful Christmas and a wonderful New Year. It was a bit of a disaster in our house. One of our eldest sons came back from work like a week before Christmas and he picked up some horrible bug which we all came down with, and so we weren't able to leave the house altogether for about 2.5 weeks, I think it was. We didn't get to see anybody over Christmas. Thank goodness we like each other. And then on New Year's Day we finally managed to go out. We planned to drive just a little way and go for a bit of a walk, but our ears were still so blocked that several of us felt really sick from the car, so we only managed about 15 minutes walk before we had to come back home. However, we did get to do lots of board games, which is my favourite thing to do with my family. We watched some films, we finished watching Parks and Recreation together, and I did a lot of cooking when I was feeling up to it. We didn't eat as much as we were planning to be honest, because our appetites weren't all that good, but it just meant that the Christmas food lasted all the longer. But something else that I was doing over Christmas and New Year was reading quite a bit, so I thought it might be quite fun just to share what I've been reading, what I really enjoyed. Some of them have got my bookmarks in because I haven't finished them yet. So the first one I think I've mentioned before because I have had this out from the library for quite a while. It's a children's book recommendation. It's Howl's Moving Castle. Now I picked this up to read to my youngest son. One of my other sons had watched the TV show and said that that was good, and I'd heard of the book, so I picked that up. The bookmark has actually fallen out of there. I think we're about halfway through it now. We just kind of, anytime we're wanting kind of 10 minutes, just the two of us, we go and have a snuggle up and I read him some of this. And we're really enjoying it. It's a fantasy story about a girl called, let me just check, I'm sure she's Sophie, yeah. And there's this evil wizard, Howl, and basically Sophie gets enchanted by a witch and ends up in Howl's castle, which can move around. It kind of flies and it's got all these doors that you kind of turn a knob thing and they take you to different places. It's pretty cool. It's very original and we're really enjoying that. So yeah, kids book recommendation. Right, the other book I've got, what have I got? I've got 2 books that I completely finished. So the first was The Hating Game. I got this, I think this was my Christmas Eve book actually. We do the Icelandic tradition of giving each other a book that we open on Christmas Eve. We both get, there are 6 of us, we all get a book on Christmas Eve after we've had our dinner, and then we go off to bed later on and kind of snuggle up with our books, and it's really lovely. That is just Hector moving around as per usual. Hector, I'm filming. Can you just settle down? You've had a walk. Yeah, it's not time for anything else. Thank you. Never work with children or animals, that's what I say. Anyway, I'd read this book before. I borrowed it from the library and I absolutely loved it. I think this is probably my top romance recommendation for last year. So it's all about these 2 people who work together. The woman's name is Lucy, that's it. Lucy and Josh. And basically they have to work in the same office together every day. They absolutely hate each other and they play all these mind games to wind the other one up. But it turns out that there's not that much difference between love and hate. And yeah, it's really lovely. It's very clever, very sexy. I love the dynamic between the characters. If you are writing romance, it's worth reading just so you can study how it's done. Yeah, it's Sally Thorn. She does a brilliant job with this. The other book that I finished, Hector, dude, you can't just walk around in circles through the whole of my video. Yeah? You can't do that. Can you see the tip of his tail in the video? You can't do that. You've got to settle down. Sit. Good boy. Okay, you're a bit wet, aren't you? There we go. You just stay there quietly, okay? You can sit next to me there. Like, Paris is being good. This has never happened before. Right, then, so the other one that I finished completely was A Court of Thorn and Roses. This is one I had seen recommended all over the place. It's the first in a series, and I've been wanting to read more fantasy. There we go, he settled down onto the table now. I've been wanting to read more fantasy, so I thought I would give this a go. It's quite clever. It's about this mortal who kills a wolf, and she doesn't realise that it's actually, what do they call them? Do they call them fairies? It's a magical creature. I think they call them fairies in it. Anyway, so because of that, she's kind of taken into the world of the fairies and is going to be kept prisoner there for the rest of her life. But it's kind of a telling of Beauty and the Beast, in that there's a curse on the fairies, and the guy who is her captor is actually rather handsome. Yeah, and it was good, definitely good. It took me a little while to get into it, but once I did, I really, really enjoyed it. And I especially liked that there was kind of a bit of a bad guy second love interest who was introduced into it, like a way into the story. I thought that that was very clever and that worked very well. So I will be reading the next, it's the Throne of Glass series it's called. I will be reading the next one of these. I've ordered it from the library, so hopefully they get that in soon. Another one that I've been reading, and I've nearly finished this one. This is The Stolen Kingdom by Bethany Atazadeh, who is on YouTube. She has a really good YouTube channel. This one is so special. One of my boys got me this for Christmas. It's a lovely hardback, that it gets my special bookmark that my niece made me, which is my favourite bookmark at the moment. She's very, very talented. And yeah, again, fantasy, and again, a fairy tale retelling, although this was like really loose. It's supposed to be a retelling of Aladdin, and really, other than the fact that it's got a genie in it, I didn't really, I mean, I guess there's some like petty thieves, I don't know. So yeah, I haven't finished it yet, but again, like another fantasy one, so I'm pleased that I'm trying that, and I am pleased that I'm reading some of her work, because I am wanting to read more books by author tubers, because I think that would be fun. Then I'm also reading, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, I think I did in one of my live streams. This is John Steinbeck's Journal of a Novel, The East of Eden Letters. So basically, when John Steinbeck was writing his novel, The East of Eden, he had his writing book because he wrote longhand, and when he started writing for the day, he kind of warm up by writing a letter to his publisher. Was it his publisher? His editor. On the left-hand side of the page, just about kind of what was going on in his life and how he felt his writing was going. And then when he'd done that, he would then write the book on the right side of the page. And so all of those letters that he wrote were have been typed up and have been made into this. It's really, really interesting because it hasn't really been edited at all, other than like he had a few inconsistencies, and there's some personal kind of family stuff that's been taken out, and he made some spelling mistakes with certain words, and that's been changed. But yeah, basically it's as he did it. So it's literally just as he was kind of rambling on. So I like to read it just little bit by little bit, because there is quite a lot of repetition, because he's not reading back over what he's done. He's not editing it or anything like that. He talks about pencils a lot. The man was obsessed with pencils. But it is really interesting. As you can see, I'm making lots of notes, and I am planning to do a video about this. I found it in a charity shop, and it's really, really interesting. The final book that I'm reading, I started on New Year's Day, and this is going to take me the whole year because it's the Daily Stoic, 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance and the Art of Living, featuring new translations of Seneca, Epictetus, I think you say that, and Marcus Aurelius. So this is Ryan Holiday. He's got a YouTube channel which I really, really enjoy. So basically every day you have like a little quote from one of the like major Stoics, and then he gives a little bit of kind of analysis, further explanation about it. So yeah, I just thought that that would be a really nice thing to read, and I've been doing that before going to bed and before my mindfulness. You can tell that it's January, can't you? That I'm like, oh, I make sure that I read my Daily Stoic book before going to bed, and then I do my mindfulness. So we'll see how long this lasts. I am enjoying it though, and obviously it literally takes like 1 minute because it's only, you know, it's not even a page of writing for each day, really. Yeah, there's just like, it's just like that. So it really doesn't take long to do. So I hope that I stick with that because I am finding it really, really good. There we go. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's really nice to be back in front of the camera and kind of catching you guys up a little bit. I have got so many plans for the new year of things that I want to do with this channel. I think my next video is going to be kind of getting my author life together. So I've got loads of things that I want to tidy up, things that I want to improve, things that I want to check over, and I'm going to be taking you along for that as a kind of vlog style video, so that should be great. Don't forget that if you are an author tuber, I do have a Facebook group. It's called Author Tubers, helping author tubers. If you just head over there, it's a really lovely supportive community. I ask all sorts of daft questions on there and everybody's always really, really kind and helpful, and we would love to have you there. Thank you all also so much for the fact that I have reached 600 subscribers. It's absolutely brilliant, and it was lovely to wake up this morning and to see that, and I will catch you in the next one.